What's up, nerds? Welcome back to Nerd Alert. I'm Brandon. I've got Jimmy and James with me, and we have some comic book news to talk about. First one is we're going to start with a bummer. We're going to get the bummers out of the way. But this week it was reported that famed comic book writer Peter David had passed away. And that sucks. Peter David is, he was a amazing writer with a lot of classic stories under his belt. He did an amazing Hulk run. He gave us Maestro, which is one of the best versions of the Hulk that you continue to see this day. I mean, literally looking around like my collection, just glancing, I have his Hulk run. I have X Factor. His X Factor run is outstanding. Young Justice, that was one of my favorites that led into Jeff Johns' Teen Titans. There's not a lot of bad things you can say about his stories and his writing. She-Hulk, I've got a She-Hulk run. He just did a symbiote run with Peter back when it was like a retelling of some of the early adventures of Peter Parker getting the symbiote after Secret Wars. But yeah, really, really bummed to hear that. He was an outstanding writer and he will be missed.
Very prolific. And that's not that you ever want anybody to pass away, but that was the good and the bad, that he was prolific. So we can go back and read a bunch of his great work, but obviously we'll never get anything new. And that sucks because he was very creative and thought of characters that we know in different ways and showed them in different ways. And that's always nice because a lot of the times, like you said, X Factor, a lot of times X Factor just rehashes old storylines, in my opinion. And I love the X-Men, but X Factor was never my bag. But when he was writing it, in my opinion, he wrote it from a perspective that was different than what we usually seen with that team. So yeah, he will definitely be missed.
I absolutely agree. It's always tragic when an amazing comic book writer passes because, and this is coming from a non-expert perspective, I feel like for every amazing writer we have like 3 more that really just fumble. So it sucks to lose what is so special in such a wide industry. And his work's amazing. So it sucks that we won't see it again, but it does mean that what he's created is that much more special.
Also, Spider-Man 2099. That was him as well. He did another run. I think it was it was a little after Brand New Day that they brought Miguel into the present, and he did a whole run that I've been waiting to be released in either a collection or an omnibus or whatever. I would definitely suggest his X Factor run. That is maybe my favorite of his work. It's so good. It's when he starts X Factor Investigations. It's really solid. His She-Hulk run is also great, but yeah, just sucks that he is gone. But like Jimmy said, you got really good stuff to reference and read and keep his memory alive and his stories alive. And there's a ton of characters that exist because of him now, and I'm sure throughout time that'll be honored when other people take up those characters.
Agreed.
But yes, rest in peace, Peter David. We will miss you very much. Amazing writer.
And now onto something that I think will have zero controversy between the three.
And now for something completely different.
So it has been announced that one of the most popular comic book characters of all time will be taking on a nobody.
I fucking hate
Deadpool.
You. I hate you so much.
Batman.
You're such a pain in the ass.
Deadpool is obviously the big name. Batman, I'm not familiar with this character. Is he new?
Who's Batman?
You know what? I really hate to do this because it's like the whole reason we get this matchup is because they're probably looking at the 2 most popular characters each company has. Because when I saw this announcement, every part of the announcement had me more shocked than the previous sentence. Because I was like, oh, Batman and Deadpool written by Grant Morrison. Like, what are you talking about?
And that's my favorite because I had zero details, but the headline. I grabbed that link so quick and threw it in our group. Like, look, Brandon, Deadpool, Batman. I love it. I can't wait.
So since you didn't read the rest of it, there's going to be 2 issues: Batman and Deadpool, Deadpool and Batman. The Batman and Deadpool is going to be written by Grant Morrison and art by Dan Mora, who is just on fire. I wish he drew everything. He's so good. Grant Morrison is not the art or not the writer I was expecting to hear. But then on the reverse side, Marvel's Deadpool and Batman is going to be written by Zeb Wells with art by Greg Capullo. So all
Really?
around, yeah. So he does that second cover. There's the first cover
Yeah.
of the two of them kind of running and meeting in the middle. That's Dan Mora. The second cover with like the smoke grenades, that's Greg Capullo's artwork.
That's interesting. That's the Marvel side of things and I
Yeah.
don't keep up with comics like Brandon does, but I loved his work with Scott Snyder on Batman. His art was just phenomenal. So to hear that
And we
he's
get it again.
flip
I'm so
side,
excited.
I know I'm excited by that too. But literally, I am well aware of Brandon's view of both Batman and Deadpool. So when I saw that headline, I'm like, oh my God, two of my favorite things to tease Brandon about are coming together. I cannot wait. But then Grant Morrison, I'm like, wait, they're taking this serious. This isn't, you literally could have me write it and it would sell out because the names, but they actually have a very awesome quality writer. I was shocked.
And I really appreciate that from what I'm getting from this is that we have two outcomes. Deadpool wins, Batman wins, depending on the publisher.
No,
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 you're gonna say
we
Deadpool
have
wins every
2
time.
and 0.
No, no,
Deadpool.
no. So listen, guys, I hate to be this person, but with these crossovers, I think we're going to have less winners and more just collaborative stories because we're not getting a Marvel versus DC. This might lead to something like that again, which I think would be awesome. But I am just excited to see what these writers do to interact with the characters, you know?
I
I
mean,
definitely see a scenario similar to Deadpool and Cable in that obviously Cable is super serious and Deadpool is not. Well, obviously Batman is super serious, and again, Deadpool is not. So I could see a very like, would you freaking focus on what we're doing? I think I left the oven on.
I kind of
Yeah.
want Nightwing to show up because Nightwing and Deadpool would vibe with each other, and Batwoman would just be like,
No way. I want Jason Todd. I want Jason Todd show up and just get pissed at Deadpool.
just like takes out one of Deadpool's kneecaps, and it's like, you'll heal.
I mean, who knows what can happen here? This is the first announcement, and I'll be honest with you, with Deadpool and Batman, that is not. If you would have given me 10 characters to guess who they were going to put up against Batman, I was not going to guess Deadpool. So now I'm really excited to see not only what matchups we get, but which writers we get. I did see Mark Miller posted a Fantastic Four logo on his social media, and people are saying that he's going to be doing part of the Fantastic Four crossover. I don't know who they're going to cross over with, but I mean, just starting with Greg Capullo, Dan Mora, Zeb Wells, Grant Morrison, Mark Miller, like it really looks like these companies are going all out to get the best talent. And I think the coolest thing is that so many writers in the industry now have experience on both sides of that fence. You know, we
And
have people who've written for both companies.
we have the stopgap out of the way. We didn't see Marvel DC team ups, crossovers, anything for the longest time. So to see this, and again, it's not Marvel versus DC, that big event or anything like that. It's just, it feels like we're tipping our toe in the water with some big names to get these team ups again. And I love it. This is what comic books are, fun.
And
Yeah.
the great thing is, you can't go wrong with Deadpool because the whole point is that he's just insane. I mean, there's ways to go wrong with Deadpool.
You can go wrong with Deadpool. You can go very wrong with
Batman,
Deadpool.
it's perfect. It's literally insane cop, straight man duo. There's no way. Well, there are a few ways to screw it up, but it would be really, really hard because you have so many instances where it goes right. I mean, even Deadpool himself already has storylines like that, and we see Batman kind of have that interplay with Dick. So it's not impossible to screw this up. And regardless, it's going to be fun to see Batman have to deal with Deadpool being himself.
I think what Jimmy was saying though is like really the part I'm taking out of it is that this is like comics are supposed to be fun. And I really, whether it be comics, whether it be wrestling or any of the other things I'm into, I really don't like the idea of like, I just do one company. Like I'm just a DC guy. I'm just a Marvel guy. Like comics are great. There's a million publishers you can read that aren't the big two. There's a million different books you can pick up. And I like that they're just, hey, let's do some crossover stuff. You know, the last couple of years with Marvel getting the Godzilla licensing or DC getting the Godzilla licensing. Now Marvel has it. Predator, Alien. We're just getting these fun mashups. And like I said, that's what the point of this should be. We're here to have fun. And I hope they really swing for the fences with this. You know, there's no reason to hold back. Tell some crazy stories. They don't have to be in continuity. They don't have to be connected with anything. Just Just give us fun stories to read.
And that's some of the best comics I've read in recent years, because you could make an argument that a lot of the big events with the mainstays are getting a little old. But when Scooby-Doo enters with all their crossovers from DC, damn, was that fun. That was so much ridiculous fun. And it's like, I would have never thought that was going to happen. I never thought I needed it. But similar to Batman versus Deadpool, I need that in my life. And it was fun.
I totally agree. It's some of the best comics are when they go like super high concept out there and they really just explore the idea rather than like trying to be super serious. Not to say super serious stories are bad. Born Again and Watchmen are some of the greatest comics I've ever read. But sometimes it's fun to watch Deadpool do dumb stuff. I mean, come on. There's
comics for everybody. There's comics for everybody. And I think more than anything, I think the industry needs this. Please go buy these books. Go to your local comic book store, set up a pull box now, and get these held aside for you. So 1, that they're ordered. 2, you make sure you get them in your hand. And 3, you're supporting small local businesses. Like,
and I
really think that's important.
Given these 2 names, I can easily see some records being broken with individual comic book sales.
For sure. But yeah, I think that's also why you're seeing a lot of the absolute and the ultimate line sell so well too. I'm sure we'll talk about it in a week or two, but when we see the top comics for May, I guarantee you most of the titles are going to be those ultimates again. And they're telling these like kind of out of continuity or different continuity stories. And yeah, they need to be big and get people's attention and get people back into stores reading regularly.
Agreed. So I'm excited, but now what the fans want to hear, who's going to win? And I know it's not set up to be Deadpool versus Batman, but
Batman always wins.
Mr. Mitzelplix.
There we go. He's going to be responsible for everything.
Even though that's Superman, that would be amazeballs. I love Mr. Mitzelplix.
No, it's the Jonkler. Jonkler's going to show up and he's going to be like, "Hello, Batman."
See, my issue is though, Brandon, you keep saying with enough preparation, Batman can beat anybody. But how do you prepare for Wade Wilson and his insanity?
Easy.
You already proved Taskmaster can't do it.
Batman can be Taskmaster.
Got a point.
Taskmaster adapts to everybody and couldn't do it. So
I like to imagine
Batman wins.
Deadpool breaks the 4th wall. Batman's just like, okay, I mean, cool, whatever. We exist in a comic book. I accept this reality now.
Because what he's going to do is he's like, who the hell are you talking to?
Can kill Grant Morrison while he's writing this. And then maybe
Grant Morrison is a continuity character in DC because he appears as himself in the Animal Man run, basically telling Animal Man he's a comic book character, which is a great run if you never read that. But honestly, I was ready when these start, like at least when we got like the first announcement like this, to be like, who else do you think they're going to match up? But honestly, after this one, I'm not sure what direction they're going with on who's meeting who. So now I kind of just want more news. I don't want to make any like guesses because I'm sure they're not going to be as wild as what we actually get.
Do you know who I want to see? It just popped in my mind.
Who?
I want to see Wonder Woman and She-Hulk.
I would love that.
I want to see them go at it.
That would be
great.
Of
reasons, but yes, I want to see them.
Now I'm thinking of like who's going to write these things. I mean,
well, sadly, we already talked about the one who could write that. That would be Amazeballs, but he passed away, so that sucks.
Yes, that would be that would have been awesome. But I mean, I'm honestly like you got to figure all the big names you can think of are going to be doing some sort of title. And honestly, I'm assuming the sales on this is going to be great. Maybe it leads to another event where you do the voting and decide who's gonna fight who or win the fights and stuff like that. I don't know, man. I'm really excited for this.
I got another one, but I want it to be like our most recent Throwdown Thursdays where they just hang out and have a beer. Man-Thing and Swamp Thing. I would love to see those two just chilling out, hanging out, having fun.
They just kind of meet and they're like, "Oh, yeah, no, we're good. Everything's good.
Fist bump.
We don't really pose a threat to each other. Let's just go about our ways. It's fine."
Love that.
You're in the swamp protecting the swamp. I protect all green on Earth. We're good. Okay.
Love it.
On the voting side of things, I can't wait to decide if Jason Todd dies or not again.
Oh man, that would be.
Ken, you weren't around, buddy.
I meant historically.
Historically.
You said again.
Yeah.
It actually be I think it would be the third time because he dies briefly in Chip Zdarsky's run, but he's brought back immediately
but we didn't
through
vote
the Lazarus chemicals.
Bastard.
Nobody voted for that.
Anyways, what we're trying to say is we are excited for this. And like I said, please make sure you go to your local comic book store now. Open a poll, start adding these. This is going to be a fun time. This is going to be a good time to read comics. And if you've never read them before, this is a cool way to get, different characters about from film in front of you. And I'm sure whatever store you go to will have suggestions if you want to read more from either that writer, that character, things like that.
And that's the big one. Ask questions. I know there are comic book stores where you walk in and the person behind the counter is intimidating because you're not the biggest nerd in the world. They're like, "Ooh, you suck. Get out of my comic book store." That's why we say go to Maximum Comics in Las Vegas. But ask. They love to talk about everything comic books, and they will give you suggestions for things you never thought of, or tell you where to get started, because it can get confusing where you're like, I want to jump in on X-Men, but they're 300 issues into whatever. It's like, well, they can tell you when to start to get into the issue that'll make sense.
Yeah, you should start with the 1960s, 70s. Yeah, you should just go.
I mean, you could if you're a completist.
They exist. I don't understand what they're saying.
Yeah, I know. I don't understand this. What else do we have for comic book news? What else is on that list?
I think that was about it. I think we
guys. We covered the shit out of that.
We covered it. I'm sure there's more. So yeah, let us know what else is going on.